I feel like for many of you, this is your contribution. Okay, you have a lot of skills to offer. You have a lot of like specialized knowledge and expertise and know-how. And many of you are great with problem solving, troubleshooting, supervisors or managers or people that are in charge of big accounts or large quantities of data or doing quality control. And this is your input, and you're putting in a lot of work. And you put it into this machine. And of course, it's going to bring about a lot of prosperity, right? So you're coming into it, believing in the system, believing that if you work really, really hard, you're going to get where you need to be because the machine will reward you, right? And the greater the input, the greater the output. So you kind of come into the world or come into this work environment really believing in it. And then you kind of feed into it. But then along the way, you kind of encounter the opposite scenarios where people that don't have very much, they don't come with all the skills and all the expertise and all the educational background and all the life experiences or even the work experiences. They come in very, very subpar and just underwhelming. And they're also feeding into the machine. And they're also getting a lot of prosperity back at them. So is that really fair? I don't think that it is. And especially, in your predicament, I really don't feel that it is. And you don't feel that it's fair. But yet you're encountering situations in your work environment and in your professional life where people that have, an underwhelming amount of skills, they're being treated the same way that you are treated, where you spent many, many years cultivating and honing in on and perfecting your craft. And you're not, or you are getting the same level of recognition, and it just feels very unfair, unjust. I also feel many of you Taurian people on either side of the coin. Okay, so many of you right now are in a really, really good career path. And I feel for many of you, you could be like 35 to like 45, okay, that age group. Quite successful, having a lot of people that you command. Everyone looks up to you to solve their problems. Some of you have like a large following. So that means you have a lot of people that are working under you and they're doing the dirty work for you. So you're commanding them and they're doing the dirty work for you. It doesn't, it's not all about like classism or anything like that, but it's just like stating that people trust you to take the lead and people are willing to follow you because they trust your judgment. So it's a really good position to be. Some of you are in leadership positions as well, leaders amongst children, among the next generation, amongst people in politics as well. So it basically means that, you're in the public eye, you're under a lot of scrutiny, and you pass the test mainly because you don't have a single blemish in your background. And then as a result of that, I feel like you're also feeding into this, building up your professional life, building up your networks, building up your connection. And I feel like you're already at that apex. And there is this sense, for those of you who are dealing with, there's this sense of like, I can just coast. I can just, put in very, very little amount of work. But, even then, you are perfectionistic, so you're not going to be underselling yourself. But I feel it's almost like I can coast. I know everything there is to know. I can come to work without ever being stumped by questions. And so you feel almost as like, it gets to that point where it's like, what else is out there? Should I explore new horizons? I want to, but I might be stuck with a specific skill set that are not transferable to other industries. So where can I go? Where can I apply my skills? Where can I go so that I don't have to start at the bottom of the totem pole, but, rely on the skills that I already have under my belt and kind of expand upon it? Many of you are seriously thinking about a change in your geographical location. Where do I want to settle down? Where do I want to buy property? Where do I want to have children? Where do I want to raise children? Do I want to be here or overseas? So there are a lot of issues that are coming through more on the long-term ideological front. Do I want to settle here or do I want to move somewhere else? And I feel a lot of foreign energy, such as, with the Wheel of Fortune, this deals more on the global scale. Am I happy staying in this country or should I make a move elsewhere? And I also feel as well, all my skills or all of my work experience is in one country. Is it transferable or translatable into another work environment or into working in another country? So for example, some of you might have a lot of schooling and a lot of educational background in one country. So for example, you have even, I want to say let's say an MBA in one country, or you have a doctorate degree in one country. And if you were to move, those degrees are not transferable. And so you find yourself kind of stuck, right? You don't want to start over, but at the same time, it's really difficult for you to make that move, that transition, when the degrees themselves are not recognized in the new country. And then many of you want to change. I'm hearing change jurisdiction. You might have a license in one state and you want to practice in another state, but you have to redo that process. You have to get the license in the new state. So all of these things are coming up for reexamination. And I see a lot of people in institutional roles, working in some type of either a federal agency or academic institutions, medical institutions, things that are accredited, things that require licensing, things that require it's not a walk in the park to get yourself in the door, to get your foot in the door. So if you were to leave it and start over, it can feel very daunting, and it can also feel like you have to start from scratch. But there are new opportunities that are coming in on the horizon right now, and I feel it's converging. It's it's coming in for you. And some of you might have an offer on the table to switch agency, to switch into a new position, to switch into something a little bit different. And I feel like you're definitely emotionally drawn to that decision, to that offer. But it might not pay as much as you're hoping. It might not pay what you feel would be enough to support your standard of living. So it's a big trade-off here, but I feel like you're looking for something new. The status quo is okay. It looks great. You have a lot of respect. People really love and admire you in the work environment. They admire your work ethics. But I do sense that you've been here a little bit too long, and you're just I'm growing roots. I'm gathering moss. And so shifting, changing gears, moving would be the ideal circumstance. And there's a sense of wanderlust, again, wanting something a little bit more exotic, wanting something a little bit different, okay? So that's coming into the picture. The rest of this spread, what it talks about overall is it deals heavily with, I keep seeing this for you guys as well. It's an environment where we really have to work together with other people. This is a card about collaboration, and this is deals heavily with exchanging in ideas, sharing our best practices, listening to other people, and finding mentors or finding teachers in very unlikely places. Okay, so it's sort of like learning by doing, and also the people that you manage, they actually might be the ones that have a lot to teach you. So whereas you're hoping to learn from your supervisors, your manager, your higher ups, but in fact, because of this collaborative card, it deals heavily with learning from unlikely sources. It's like messengers come in all shapes and forms. So you might have an underling that's, like an intern that's just starting out. You're managing his or her work, and they're teaching you a lot of things. They're the ones that are bringing new ideas into the picture. And so I feel here, it's kind of like allowing yourself that humility to learn from people that might not have that might not have as much experience as you do, but because they're looking at the same problem with a fresh pair of eyes, they're able to arrive at creative solutions that you might not have thought about. So I feel a lot of collaboration coming in, sharing knowledge, sharing skills, sharing the best way to do something. And I feel as if this process alone, it's sort of like, it's a really good process overall. I'm also sensing as if there are some people in your work environment that are taking it the wrong way. You know, they're very much about hierarchy, and they're very much about, I've been here longer. You need to listen to me. This is a new person. They don't really have the skills and the expertise. They should not be able to tell us what to do, or they should not be able to, you know, I want to say, they should not have a say in the direction of the company because they haven't been around. So there are conflicting messages here regarding people that might have been in the field for a really long time, but they have no idea what they're doing, or they're so entrenched in it, it's hard for them to shift gears, and it's hard for them to think creatively. Okay, we all know those types. And then there are people that are brand new, that are very innovative, but no one's really giving them the time of day. So it is up to you to really try to shape young minds. Some of you might be teachers, shaping young minds. It might be up to you to, you know, provide the creative framework so that you can allow these new people to explore, and allow these new people like some type of hands-on approaches so that they can learn by doing, and that they can, you know, improve their problem-solving skills. So don't listen to the people that are like, I've been around, I know exactly what I'm doing, but they're not really, you know, pulling their weight, or they're so entrenched in one way of doing things that they're not able to switch gears, think creatively, solve problems through a new, fresh pair of eyes, or, you know, adopt new technology even. So success is only on the surface. You have to really delve deep to really, you know, understand what people are dealing with and how they perceive their work, okay? Because success is only skin deep. So aside from that, the other messages that I'm getting in the picture here, it feels to me as if many of you are thinking about, once again, change in location. And you might, you know, want to stay in the same job, but really, really thinking about like saving up, planning, plotting to kind of leave the nest. Some of you might be living with parents, and the housing environment looks a little bit crowded. The work that's cut out, it's sort of like, I have a space, you know, I don't have to pay rent, or I'm paying very minimal rent, and I'm not doing all the chores. The chores are divided between all the people in the household, possibly with family. And so it just feels as if it's very comfortable. You know, it's like, it's not a lot of work because it's spread out across many people. But you're at a point where you do want to grow, and you do want to be able to be independent. So many of you are at this place. It's a catch-22. On the one hand, it's so comfortable, and, you know, rent is cheap. But on the other hand, it's like, I really want to have my own space. So I see many of you plotting and planning in that regards. And I'm also seeing many of you, the house situation, you might have been thinking about like repairs and things like that. Like, this is a card about marriage, and it's also like the physical dwelling, okay? When it's in the reverse, I usually think of like putting a lot of money into a relationship, putting a lot of money into housing repairs. And you might have come out since the beginning of the year, since January, fixing something, cleaning up something, cleaning up the gutters, cleaning up the drain, doing a lot of fixer-upper types of projects as it relates to this housing situation. And now you're like, is it really worth it? Can we just sell the house as is and then move on? But you're still biding your time, and everything that you do, you are taking very careful and methodical steps. So I feel like some of you are at that point where you're like, Maybe we should just sell it, or maybe we should, change location and just rent somewhere else. Maybe we should change into another city. Maybe we should, leave the nest and create our own nest. For those of you who are newlyweds or who are thinking, who are in significant relationships and you're thinking about having children. So that's an element coming in as well. Career looks really, really good. I feel like for many of you, you're very established in your career and you're watching this. And then for others, you're at a place that is very, very safe. Okay, so it's like a 10-year track, or it's like you have your foot in the door in some type of a career building position. So it could be like a governmental agency, it could be with the county, it has really good benefits and things like that. That's what I'm sensing. And if you stay there, you can shift very quickly into a management position. And then from there, you can go into a senior position. So I feel like your career is already set, but you're just like, I'm not sure if this is where I want to be, because life is still calling me. Foreign lands, foreign seas, foreign languages, foreign people, it's still exotic. So I feel many of you are at a point where you have something that's really good, but you're still not 100% content. There's still that pull, that wanderlust. Okay. I pulled out these 3 cards and I wanted to see what your love life looks like. Mainly because this is so work and career and finance focused that I wanted to, specifically look at other areas of your life. So what I have here, first of all, is a water sign. So this is a Pisces, Cancer, Scorpio, Sun, Moon, or Rising. This is somebody who's very home-based, very home-oriented, okay? On the weekends, they don't want to go out with friends. They want to just stay home and cuddle and spend a lot of time with you. This is somebody that calls and checks up on you when you're at work. Not so much checking up, but, they check in on you. They're a little bit more... they need a lot of reassurance. They need a lot of time. They need a lot of attention. And I feel like many of you, this is a relationship partner for many of you. And I feel for many of you, this is somebody that you're married to. This is somebody that wants to settle down, that wants to that might ask you, do we want to have more children, or can we have more children? They also want their own space with you. For many of you, that's like, they're kind of telling you, let's start a family, let's build a nest, let's move out, let's live on our own. And then for others of you, I feel like you are in a long distance relationship with another person. And what I'm feeling here is distance, space, and things like that. I feel like a fire sign. Sagittarius, Aries, or Leo, okay? And I have here the card of Leo. That's coming out very prominently, and I do have here this fire sign. So I feel like there might be a long-distance relationship where it's, I don't feel like it's new. I feel like it's been ongoing, and it's kind of difficult to maintain, mainly because you're at this point where the person might be wanting to start a family. The person might be wanting to, settle down, have roots, and things like that. And so once again, Aries, Sagittarius, or Leo. And it just feels as if there's a sense of longing. There's a sense of both of you mutually missing each other, like really longing for each other to be nearby. And I feel like it's starting to be very difficult to come together, to reconvene, to connect. There might be time differences, you might be on different time zones in different areas, in different countries. And so it's nighttime where they are, daytime where you are, and you can't really Skype. You can't really connect. You can't really FaceTime. You can't really see each other. You can't really, share. And then there are days when, you've had like a really bad day and you want to call them and they're not there. So it just feels almost like timing is kind of working against you in this relationship, and you're watching the time kind of tick away. And so it's hard. Long distance relationships are hard, but I definitely feel The emotions are there. The longing, the love, the affection, the commitment is there. It's just getting, I feel like it's difficult for the other person more so than it is for you. You've got your career, your wealth, and your that you're building. The other person, they're okay. I mean, I don't feel they're financially in dire strait or anything, but I feel the longing and the missing and the, wanting to be together. That is taking its toll on them emotionally. And so it's a little bit challenging for the two of you to continue in the relationship because you don't really know, you don't have a vision of how the two of you are going to reconvene. You don't have a vision of how the two of you are going to come together and be, establish a family. Okay, so it's like you need to work this out in your current relationship. What I also have as well, for those who are single people who are, out dating and things like that, I feel like there might have been a recent breakup here with the Four of Wands. A recent breakup. So it could be a fire sign, Sagittarius, Aries, Leo, a water sign, Pisces, Cancer, Scorpio, or even another earth sign, Taurus, Virgo, Capricorn. And what you're doing here is this is the end of conflict. So this is kind of like, you're out of my life. We're not fighting anymore. I'm no longer, like, you're getting over the relationship. Okay. And I feel for many of you, it was a significant relationship where you might have shared space with each other at one point. You might have shared housing. You might have lived together even at one point. I feel like somebody moved out. And there is a sense of longing, missing somebody, but you're kind of like, I'm kind of over it. I'm not going to succumb to the temptation to reconnect and to reach out. For many of you, if you're dealing with a water sign, Pisces, Cancer, Scorpio, they are reaching out to you. They're reaching out, and there's an apology that I'm feeling here. And you're kind of turning the other way. And it's kind of like signaling to me the end of conflict. No more fighting, no more internal struggle, no more external struggle. And taking new opportunities, okay? Singles, it's a really good time for you to make the most of your birthday time. Birthday time is what we call like the solar return, when you have a lot of luck and prosperity on your side. So you want to make the most of it and, tell yourself out with the old, in with the new, so that you can invite new energies into your life, okay? It's going to be a really, really good month. I feel many of you are getting over breakups. And I see many of you are kind of like trying to solidify a relationship as well. You still are trying to figure out the direction, like what's going to happen? How are we going to come together? So it's still not there yet, but I feel like it can get there. Just give it a little bit more time.